Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another night of Fem Talk. It is Fem Talk Tuesday, and we are going to get this conversation started. So, I'm going to bring in the ladies of Fem Talk tonight. We have Shima, She Talks. Hey,
Hey, Fem Talkers.
hey, and we have Mimi, Melissa, Girl
Oh,
Boss
I
Up.
know. Next time we don't have this issue.
Hey.
We need you to mute that phone, Melissa.
No, he just told me he's gonna post it now. So my
All right, I'm gonna take her down for 1 minute and let her get that together because this is real life, you guys. She's busy
That's
right now.
right.
There's another conference call going on. This is how we do it. Sometimes we have to. So listen, our very own BJ Brandy the Disconnector will not be with us tonight. Hopefully, she will join and comment a little bit later, but she had other obligations to attend to. So, we're going to get right into our Fem Talk hot topic.
Yay. So what
All
is
right. So, tonight, listen, because they cannot leave Will Smith alone,
oh,
I just want to read to you what they had to say about Will Smith because they just can't leave it alone. Will Smith has traveled to India for spiritual purposes 1 month after the Oscar slap. Sources say, so they're trying to relate this to his Oscar slap. I guess he needed solace. He needed to, have some peace, right?
yes.
But this is what they're reporting. But I wish they would just leave it alone now. Whatever you believe, whatever side of the spectrum that you're on, whether he was right or wrong, he was emotional, right? It was what he felt like an attack on his wife, and he responded to it. And maybe some will feel that it wasn't in the right way, some probably feel that it was. We've heard both sides of the coin. However, listen, it's over and done with, and he's not even allowed back to the Oscars anymore. But to bring in now that he's traveling to India and try to relate this to the Oscar slap, it's just getting to be a little bit too much, if you ask me. So, Shima, what do you think about that?
What makes him any different than any other person who has lost it?
Yeah.
I mean, no, none of us are above reproach. So
Right.
we get mad, we fall out, we yell, some stuff people don't ever see. It
Right.
just so happens this one was in front of everybody.
Right.
Let the man live. He gonna have to live it down. He gotta suffer the consequences like everybody else does. Unfortunately, he's just doing it in the public eye.
And the
Now, if he want to
punishment,
go to India and hang out with Gandhi and get some solace, that's his business.
right. And the punishment has already been given, right? Like he's
Right.
been banned from the Oscars and he's
Exactly.
losing contracts. So the
Exactly.
punishment has already
Exactly.
been given. So we have out there, we've got Aunt Jeanette out there watching. Hey, Aunt Jeanette,
Hey,
thank you
mom.
for joining us. And we're going to, Mimi, you just let us know, give me a signal when you are ready to come back in and we will let you back in. But we have a great show for you all tonight. Get your pens and your pads out because we are talking real estate. So if you have never actually purchased real estate before
That's
in your
right.
life, or if you have, but you just now need some more information, or if you are looking for a realtor slash agent or broker in your life these
We
days,
got you.
we've
We
got
got
we've
you.
got you covered. That's right. We have got you covered. So I am going to introduce one of our guests, and they are waiting back in the green room. These ladies are experienced realtors, and I'm going to introduce one of them to you. So let me bring that up so we can do that. All right. So, everybody, before I get into her bio, I'm going to just say this. Her bio does not do her justice, okay? And this is because I know her. She is my cousin. I've known her all her life, and her bio does not do her justice. But I'm going to read it, and I'm going to add a little bit of my own spice to it because I know this woman is serious about what she does. So, her name is TaMara Roberts. She is the founder of the Commission LLC. She is a licensed real estate agent in 3 states, which would be Georgia, New Jersey, and North Carolina. She is also a licensed broker in Georgia. She has 24 years of experience helping home buyers find their dream home. She is now also the partner of the Commission Luxury Group, leading over 25 agents to greatness. All right. Now, let me tell you something. If you are out there and you are looking for a team that you would like to partner with to grow and build in the real estate industry, you need to reach out to her and potentially join the Commission Luxury Group. She is a mother of 3 sons, her most important job, right? She is active in school and the swim life, and she is a follower of Christ. Everything she does is with God behind her. She is your trusted realtor. Now, I'm going to add on something that she says. You need to be able to follow her on social media, okay? And we will post her social media on the Fem Talk page a little bit later. But she says, I am giving free game now. I absolutely love that. And she's giving you tips about life and about real estate, of course. But listen, this woman is about her business. Okay. If you know her, you know that she is serious about this. But what more importantly, within this industry, she loves helping people find or list their homes and be successful at getting what they want in the real estate business and doing it in a way that's smart, that makes sense for their own personal resources and goals. All right. So that is Miss TaMara Roberts. So we also have Nadine, and I'm going to bring Mimi back so she can introduce the beautiful Nadine.
My fault. It's your fault for allowing me to run.
Oh boy, we got real life still going on, Mimi. So, can you mute that for us?
It will be difficult, but what Dr. Will said,
we're going to take her back out, you guys. All right, so listen.
Just turn the volume down, sweetheart.
Turn it down, right? We've got real life happening here, you guys. So we're just going to keep pressing on. All right, I'm going to show you a commercial. Hopefully she'll be done after that, and then we're going to go right into it. If not, we will bring in TaMara and then let Mimi and Nadine come on after that. All right, we'll start the conversation with TaMara. So stay tuned, everybody. Keep it locked, and here we go with the commercial. All right. And we are back. So without further ado, we are going to bring in TaMara Roberts. Oh, it looks like Mimi's giving me the thumbs up backstage. So you guys know this is Fem Talk. We're going to let her come on in, introduce Nadine, and then we're going to bring both ladies in and we're going to get into this real estate conversation.
Yes, yes.
Hey, Mimi.
Everyone. Hey.
All right. So why don't you give us That's right. Why don't you give us some background on Nadine?
Well, Nadine Rosemond, affectionately known as my little sister, she is she's a true girl boss. Being said, she has been a real estate agent for a number of years. She is working with one of the only Black-owned real estate firms in New Jersey. And she's just doing her thing. She has been active, not just real estate broking. She manages the whole process. So you can see her on either end, either selling houses or doing your final closing, because she works on both ends of the spectrum. And I'm just so excited and proud of her. She has followed in my mom's steps as another realtor. So she carries on the family torch and she just really knows her stuff. So I'm excited that she is also with us today to let us know what's going on in this top market called real estate and home ownership. So I'm just excited that she's here with us tonight.
All right, here we go. So let's bring in both TaMara and Nadine and get into this conversation. Hey, ladies.
Hi.
How are you? We're gonna
Amazing.
put you ladies at the top here. All
Yeah.
right. Want to highlight you ladies here. So let's get into the conversation. Before we start talking about real estate, if there's anything that we left out, ladies, tell us a little bit more about yourself that you want the people to know about you as a person.
Whoever goes first.
TaMara, you take it away.
So, good evening, ladies. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited. So, thank you for inviting me on. I think you hit every one of the points. That I mean, this year I'll be celebrating my 25th year in real estate. I started when I was 23 years old, so I'm kind of dating myself. And I've also am an investor. I don't know if Tracy talked about that, but I flipped over 40 houses. And I am also a landlord. So I know that side of it as well. And I work a lot with investors, but I also do a lot of commercial property as well.
All right. All right. Oh, so we're going to get into that. I want to talk about the differences there between residential and commercial. All right, Nadine, take it away.
Well, my sister pretty much hit on everything. I haven't been in the business as long as my counterpart TaMara, but I'm inching up on her. I started with Coldwell Banker I was with them for about 8 years. And now, like you said, I'm working with one of the only female Black-owned brokers in New Jersey, in the Somerset area here in New Jersey. And our goal is to really work with our community to make sure that they get invested in this housing market. Show them the different ropes and bypass all the bumps in order to get them to home ownership.
All right. All right. That's awesome. So we were talking a little bit in the green room. So I want to talk to the two of you ladies about what people need to know about how to get started in, let's say, home ownership first, really, right? Because most people are usually looking to buy a home, whether it's their family home or it could be, for investment purposes. Maybe they want to start with a 2-family house. As TaMara knows, that's how I started out. So, if they want to supplement their income, right, to be able to have some income coming from a unit, or if they just want like a 1-family home, but tell them what they need to know about all the tools, all the things that need to be there in place before they actually buy a home. So Nadine, you start this time.
The first thing you need to do is get that pre-approval. We need to know, and you need to know how much house you can afford. Oftentimes, I know most buyers, before they even talk to a realtor, they're on the internet. They're looking at Zillow. They're looking at the third-party apps, which is fine. And they see what they want. They have an idea of what they can afford. But until you get that pre-approval, you don't know what your credit looks like. And you need that information. And especially in today's market, you'll be hard pressed to find a good agent that will take you out without a pre-approval.
Wow. And Nadine, one of the things that I know she instructed me very well. And a lot of times people that look like us, they're intimidated by the financial process. Many a time they know what they've gone through. Their credit score, if they're aware of it, a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of people of color, we're under that 600 point level. And I know even to be considered, in the game, they even want higher than 600, but a lot of our people are not even there. So what do you recommend that they do with that, and how do they inch towards that pre-approval process?
Yeah.
You need to speak to a mortgage advisor. And unfortunately for us, credit is the main thing that's holding us back. But don't be scared about that, because there's a way to remedy that. And a conversation with a reputable mortgage advisor can get you to that goal. I've worked with clients that had not foreclosures. What do you call that? Their credit was shot, and they had to work from
stuff like
bankruptcies. There you go.
Yeah.
It escaped me. Bear with me. They work from bankruptcies. Within 2 years, they're homeowners. So it can be done. You just have to be diligent in doing that. And just like you would shop around for a car, you can shop around for mortgage brokers as well, because some of them do give you different information. And you want to work with somebody who is going to communicate with you, understand where you're coming from, and give you the information that you need.
Yeah, and I like that you said shop around too, right?
Yeah.
Get information from different mortgage brokers, so to see what they understand even, right? And see how much information they're giving you. And I would say seek some knowledge on your own and then go look for those mortgage brokers, right? To see if their information aligns with what you've been reading, or if you have a trusted person that you know, either a mortgage broker or an agent who can help you start the process and help you know where to look for information. So TaMara, what would you say about, the starting process and what people need up front?
Yeah, same thing what Mimi said. A lot of you'd be surprised how many people don't know what their credit score is, what it takes to even move it, what it takes, how it got messed up. A lot of people are used to cash being king, and unfortunately in these day and ages, and a lot of our families didn't teach us about finances, and so a lot of people have to learn as they go. But as you get older, you realize if you have credit, you don't have to have a lot of cash. You can have credit and it is boss. And so, not only do I offer people, we do credit counseling, something me and Tracy had a passion for very many years ago, right? And teach people, what your credit score is really made up of, because people don't know. They don't know anything about anything. And so, the most important part is understanding where you stand, and if you don't stand where you need to stand, right, you need to figure out what you need to do to get to that level. And so, you really need to have a group of people who are advising you the right way. And a lot of people listen to, unfortunately, but I see this every day, they listen to their cousin Joanne or their aunt Sarah, who don't have a real estate license, a mortgage license. They never bought a house, but they're going to listen to them. And then they're going to think that's the way, you can get a house. But unfortunately, that is not, how it works. So, and then outside of that, you need to make sure, while you're shopping around for a good lender, you're shopping around for a good real estate agent. Every person that has a license is not a good real estate agent. Every person that's a doctor is not a good doctor. So you have to shop around for somebody that fits with you, your personality, understand what they're looking for, what requirements they have to work with them. Everybody works different. I work by appointment only. I don't take like walk-ins and people just coming up the time is too short. And so some people don't like to work like that. They rather just be able to walk whenever they want to and talk to them and call people all day long. And so they need to find someone that fits in, inside of their sphere. And then once you find that person that's willing to work with you, whether you're at a 600 or a 900, whatever it is, you need to find out, do they fit with you?
Yeah.
Once you find that out, then you can start working towards buying a house. People always put the cart before the horse.
Yeah. I love that.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. Because that's usually the question, I'm just going to find the house. Oh, I want this house now. I'm going to see if I'm qualified. That's absolutely not how you're going to do it.
And then they're disappointed.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
And
people are really disappointed now because you guys know that the rates are rising all the time. And so there are a lot of people who were qualified for $450,000 and they're not qualified for that any longer. So you have to really be careful, because if you do not buy a house and you're not locked in, that's just happened to one of my clients. Now the rate changes. It went up since the last time you were supposed to lock it. And now your payment is $300 and $400 more than what you thought it was going to be. And now it knocks you out the criteria to even get the house. So there's a lot of that going on. So people have to understand the market. So that's why you need someone who's going to teach you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have someone that's going to teach you, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Yeah.
I love that you said that to I'm sorry, Tracy.
That's okay. Go ahead.
You said that point about, knowing what, I think you and both Nadine mentioned about knowing the house you could afford. And that even speaks to not over, if you know you could afford 450, may not go for the 450, go a little bit under so that you have that kind of, ability to flex, especially with the cost of interest rates going up. But that and knowing finding the right broker for you. I remember when we started years ago looking to buy a house. I remember my broker that we first had said, "You can't afford this." And he took us to places that I mean, every house we went to, it was like, "I don't want that house. I don't want that house." And he said, "You can't afford." I remember him telling me, "You can't afford the house you want." And then I found another broker and I found the house I wanted. So that is so important because people will size you up and take you to where they want you to be. But I think you have to find that broker that really has your interest in mind. I love both of those points.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what Nadine was talking about earlier about getting that pre-approval, because then you know for sure, and so does the agent, and then you can find a home within that pre-approval rate, right? That is in the neighborhoods that you like, right? They're not supposed to be biased in any of this. They're supposed to look at the numbers and say, what do your numbers qualify you for, right? Not the color of your skin. So I'm glad you let that one go.
Well, you know what? Buyers need to know also about fair housing. The push for fair housing is on its way. The National Association of Realtors, we have to take courses to make sure that we as realtors know how to treat the public fairly. And they need to be aware of this as well. So you're right. You shouldn't have any realtor steering you in a particular area.
Yeah. And they need to do that for the banks also. Right. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah. You guys touched on something. Both of you actually touched on something that I thought I was going to ask at the end, because I'm always pulling at the heartstrings and stuff. But what I hear from Nadine and what Melissa was saying about Nadine is that she goes from the beginning to the end. She fought, you may even find her at the closing table. And from what I know of TaMara, of her and seen, you guys you put more of you into what you do. You mentor, you teach. You're making your money, but you're making sure that you are educating your buyers and your clients. It may be a little early in the show, but I want to know what part of that drives your success, because both of you are very successful. What part of that drives that success?
For me, it's wanting my client to achieve what they've been looking for. When I started, a lot of my buyers were first-time homeowners. So the process for them was very overwhelming. So just getting the approval started, knowing the difference between a down payment and closing costs. You'd be surprised how many people don't understand the difference. Just walking them through those basic steps and knowing when to give them information, because there's a lot of information that someone needs from beginning to end. So knowing when to give it to them and let them know, okay, this is happening now. You can breathe. This is going to happen. This is what's coming next. So just give them information in chunks, take them along the way, and just be there for them. When they call, answer their questions. We all have a 9 to 5. You can't be on 24 hours a day, but always get back to your clients.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah,
I agree with that. Sometimes, and I've noticed this because I'm here in Atlanta, so it's a whole different market from anywhere as far as I'm concerned. It's a whole TV show every day here, right? And so, a lot of people get too busy, right? That they can't call people back, or not only that, they don't even respond. Right. Because they feel like they know what you can afford. So that may not be in their price point that they like to work in. I've noticed that here, where I am. But I will say that, you never know who one person can lead you to.
Absolutely.
So every client is important because, one thing I just sat here and I thought about this. Every house I ever bought, I sold to myself. And I know the process and how strenuous it can be. So for me, I want to make sure that my client has a lot of burden lifted off of them. I mean, I've bought and sold, over 40 houses between the flips and the personal houses. And it is really a process that you really need somebody to hold your hand. So with that, you want to make sure, that your clients feel like you value and you have some kind of integrity. You're not just here to make a paycheck, right? And so that's one thing I pride myself in. 99% of the people that I've sold a house with, I'm friends with on Facebook, Instagram. I know their family, and a lot of them, I have all of their information. And it's, you want to maintain that. A lot of real estate agents are transactional, and it's not just real estate agents, just business people, period. I realize they're transactional instead of being relational. When you build relationships with people, they last and they can remember everything you've done for them. So those are the people who will call you back for the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, and also refer you to other people. So that's major for me, Shima. It goes along with that question you just asked. People understand. I understand what people's needs are, and I try to make sure they get met.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good stuff.
It sure is. So since the conversation went that way, I want to flip it a little bit because you just mentioned something really key. You're just really talking about what the realtor should be doing for the client. So let's talk a little bit about what realtors need to know in order to be good real estate agents. Ones with, you mentioned the word integrity, which I love, right? With ethics, and you talked about fair housing, Nadine. So talk to us about what it takes to really be a great realtor.
Yeah.
That's good.
It takes, you have to want to go out and get the business. Oftentimes the business is not going to come to you until you actually do the work. It's amazing how many people come into the real estate industry thinking that they are going to sell tons of houses every month until they get into the trenches. There's a lot of education involved. There's, people still do cold calling. People still send mailers to the house. You have to constantly be in front of somebody's face, letting them know that you are a realtor, that you're in the business. Is just constantly being in touch with people, letting them know that you are still in the business. And then once you're in, you have to understand the cost of being a realtor. Every year there's a cost to it. There's education involved. And it's not cheap, but it's doable. With whatever job you have to put 100% in to get 100% out.
That's right. I love that. And Nadine is, I'm so proud of you. But what you remind me, I remember, and my mother went into real estate, and I remember what my sister's saying, that effort she made to, get involved with the people, but the homework, the constantly being in front of people. And now I'm watching my sister do the same thing. And I've watched their ethics over the years, and it wasn't easy, but I've seen the payoff for not just my mom and now my sister. And I saw what they put into it. I remember, my mom passed, the amount of people that came that she sold houses to. Because like TaMara said, they became friends. They became, this is my family now. People knew her because of how she treated them when they bought the house. And now they, someone said, that's like my godmother. Those kind of things matter. And to your point, TaMara, blowing people off, you don't know who the next person knows. So she just kept on getting business because that person trusted her and said, go to Aminta or go to Nadine or go to TaMara. And I think that's what people need to understand, is that your reputation matters.
Yeah. It doesn't stop with the sale of the house. Right. It's a continued relationship. I know, listen, I send everybody TaMara's way.
And it does, because I've even gotten some of my mother's clients as well since her passing. And You know, if you're good with anything, word of mouth goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and listen, that is still the best way to network, right? Because if people have a reference and somebody can recommend you and say that this person is efficient, they have integrity, they're going to take care of you, that's going to mean a lot more than if they looked you up on social media or if they found you, you know, on Google, right? It's going to mean a lot more for somebody to say, I trust this person, you can trust this person, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's take it back. Shima, did you have a question before I
No,
moved
no.
on? Okay, so let's take it back again because now I want to talk about the differences between the residential and the commercial and what people need to know from those perspectives. You know, when you're preparing for residential, we talked about that, but what about commercial? I know the rules are different when it comes to the commercial real estate. TaMara, you want to start?
Yeah, so commercial is definitely a lot different. There's a lot of different rules you have to play by. 9 times out of 10, like I get a lot of people who buy daycares. I sold 2 or 3 daycares last year. It's a different type of transaction, only because yes, you still have to have good credit, but most of the time people are buying this stuff in their business name. So they need to make sure that their business has a business credit, business banking, you know, all those different things that the mortgage company there are commercial lenders, you know, they work different from residential, and they're looking to see that you have 6 months of reserves in your account in order for you to fund whatever it is that you have, right? And then commercial deals, you have to put down, depending on the size of the property, more than likely it's 20%. Right. And so you have to put down 20% of whatever it is. So 20% of 2 million or whatever. So that's the biggest difference. There are, you know, different rules in terms of inspections and what they're looking for, disclosures by the sellers, you know. 9 times out of 10, let's say using a daycare as a reference, there's P&Ls that need to be given, profit and loss statements, for the person who is selling it, and the buyer mortgage company will review that because that's how they will base the money that they're going to lend off of the profit and loss of the business for the last couple of years, right?
They're looking at probability, right, of what you could potentially make based on the last business.
Right. And they want to see P&Ls for 2 to 3 years, depending on how much money it is. Sometimes it could be like, we went to go see a property yesterday. It is a Wendy's. They want P&Ls for 4 years because of the location where it is. It's kind of newer. The location is being built up, but the guy who owns it now wants to sell it because he wants to buy 3 other wherever. So, but we need profit and loss, and he only has 2. So he has to go back to his accountant, get all that stuff together. You know, it's just different, you know. And then on the realtor side, we get paid different, right? So, you know, depending on if you're the property is usually 10% for commercial. That is the going rate for real estate, for commission on commercial. And normally for houses is 6%, depending on the market that you're in, right? So 10% makes a big difference. So that's a good thing to know. But the seller pays that. The buyer does not pay that unless there's an agreement that the buyer is going to pay part of it. So that might be an agreement. You never know. I don't know. But I definitely feel that people should know that because sometimes the seller is not willing to pay all of the commission and the buyer absorbs some of it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We have a question out there, so I wanted to give you both an opportunity to answer this question. So, changes in the real estate laws for operating a home as an Airbnb. Are there any specific laws regarding the Airbnbs?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Did you want me to talk about it?
Sure.
Yeah. You talk about that one. I don't work with Airbnb.
Yes, there are laws. So here's the deal. In Georgia, they're getting ready. The government, the state, the city, the county, whatever county you live in, but the state of Georgia is getting ready to start taxing Airbnbs as hotels. So the owner will now have to pay hotel tax for an Airbnb. I had an Airbnb in Florida and sold it quickly. It was amazing, but it's a ton of work. There's a lot of different real estate rules that you need to follow. So if you have a tenant there, I mean, not a tenant, a guest that's staying and they're over 10 days. If you ever notice, if you try to book an Airbnb, this is around the world, 9 times out of 10, they will let you book for 9 days only. On that 10th day, you become a tenant.
Yep.
So there's a lot of holdover stuff that's going on. A lot of people don't know it. They get in this Airbnb game and they think they're going to make a lot of money, but they didn't factor in all the fees that come along with the Airbnb. So yes, different states have different laws. And taxing as a hotel is a different beast. So for me, I had to move away from it because even though it was 12% in Florida, it's 12% doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
And so, and then you also, I mean, just the way you operate it, the operating expenses of it, there's a lot of different things to go into. But yes, there are different laws that govern Airbnbs. You have to make sure that it's in a place where I've had, clients ask me to sell their Airbnbs, especially right when the pandemic started. One, because they bought places to be an Airbnb in a place that didn't allow rentals, right? So Airbnb is considered a form of a rental, right? So if you buy it in a place where it has rental restrictions, then you're breaking the law. So a lot of them had to sell it.
I was just going to ask you about that because a lot of people buy like a condo, right, or a townhouse as an Airbnb, and then will they be subjected to the same rules, the hotel tax, even if you have like a single condo in the building?
Because everybody is supposed to register your Airbnb with the state. So when you register it with the state, now they recognize you as an Airbnb in the state. And so now you have to pay the tax. Now, it hasn't been approved here in Georgia, but it's been on the table for 2 years now. So I'm sure they're getting around to it. People are making a boatload of money, either way. But, for someone just starting out, it's something you should know ahead of time. So wherever you're going to do an Airbnb, I would find out what the laws are there.
And you just mentioned something so key too. When you are, especially when it comes to commercial real estate, have a great CPA alongside your realtor, right? Because you need to know the tax laws are so important. And let me tell you, when I tell you the government, this is just another way for them to find a way to get more money because Airbnb has been doing so well. So when things start to happen in that manner, when you start to see those tax laws change and those rates start to increase, the government is saying, no, you've been doing too well here. We need to profit off of this as well, but you need to get a good CPA that knows the tax rules to walk alongside your real estate agent.
And can you also talk a little bit, either Nadine or TaMara, about the zoning laws, because that also feeds into what's your intention when you're buying something, but you need to be aware of the zoning laws. And either one of you speak on that real quick?
That's good.
Zoning is very, very important, but it goes back to, basically finding out whether, rentals are allowed, right? So if you're in a something is zoned commercial and not residential, it could be, a catch-22 with subletting and all kind of different things, because if you're in it and you bought it and then you lease it out for Airbnb, because people are doing Airbnbs of a lot of things. Hotels, they're doing Airbnb. Like I know someone who bought a hotel and Airbnb the whole hotel out, right? In Miami. Now, I mean, it's allowed, right? But the thing is, you have to be careful of the zoning in those areas. But it is considered, but if it's a rental allowed, then zoning is probably fine.
Wow, that's good stuff. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to do Mimi's segment. She's got some good information for us. And then we are going to come back and talk a little bit more about real estate. So here we go, everybody. We're going to play a little commercial here, and then we are going to get into Mimi's segment.
y'all out there today. This is Melissa Mimi Simmons, and this is all about Girl Bossed Up. Real quick, Girl Bossed Up is about us girls knowing who we are, confidently going out there doing what we are called to do. Doesn't matter about the title. It's totally not about your title. It's about your influence in whatever community you're in. Influence at work, your influence at your home, your influence with your family. It's about you doing what you're called to do and then encouraging others to do the same. It's supporting each other. It's loving each other. It's linking up arms. And you two, you three, you four, girl bossed up doing the thing. Now this weekend I went away. I was invited to the White House by an amazing young woman who I've known from a little girl, who has always been a brilliant, brilliant young woman. But I'm telling you, she doesn't have no specific pedigree. She doesn't know somebody, but she believed in herself. And with the encouragement of her parents, her brothers, and her village around her, she moved into so many different spaces, went to law school at Harvard on her own, meaning she didn't know anybody. She just used the smarts that she had. She worked hard for it, and she got into Harvard. Then went on to work for some law firms, but made some key decisions in her life. That being said, she is now White House counsel and was significantly responsible for the confirmation of Ketanji Jackson Brown. So I'm so excited for her. But I'm saying that to say is I also ended up on the same weekend going to the African American Museum. And I only got as far as the gallery, which is about the first 3 floors. And by the end of that, I was in tears. I was in tears and totally overwhelmed because guess what, Girl Bossed Ups? We have more work to do. Even though we get to those spaces, even though we get to the table, even though we are able to sometimes use our influence for significant change, we're not there yet. There's so much more work we have to do. When we are leaders, we have to be transformational leaders. We have to make a difference. We just can't allow the status quo anymore. Too many people have done that. And too many people we even see now don't pull each other up. We're still that people sometimes that talks about each other, that doesn't support each other. And we can't make that happen because guess what? The cards are still stacked against us. So there's more work to be done, ladies. There's more work to be done. So I need y'all out there. I need us out there to link up, to support each other, to go out there and make a transformational difference. Sometimes it may cost you, but the cost is worth it because there's still things to be done because we still need to get into places and spaces we just are not in. So even though some of us have arrived and gotten to these wonderful spaces, there are still things for us to do. So link up, charge up, and move forward because we still need to do the work. Do the doggone work out there. Talk to you later.
All right, and we are back. So I'm not going to delay this. We're going to bring everybody back in. We're going to continue this conversation about real estate. I hope everybody still has their pens and pads ready to go to get more of this information. This has been great information. So I hope that everybody is taking notes so that if you are preparing to buy a home, if you want commercial property, if you want to be a realtor, that you are getting the information that you need so that you can get started. All right, so I would ask you ladies to put your primary form of communication in the private chat so that we can share that on the screen. But then I'm also going to get from you your information so that we can put it on the show page as we recap this particular show so that if you resonate with anybody that's out there who needs your help, that they will just reach out to you. Yes. So we were talking a little bit about Airbnbs and those as rental properties. But if you have somebody who's looking to invest and you know that they have the funds, right? They have the credit and they have the funds. They've done the pre-work. How do you help them navigate through, say they're just starting out in the investing space, and like TaMara was mentioning, she's flipped houses. So how do you help them decide whether or not they buy rental property, flip houses? Like, give us some criteria around investing.
It can be very tricky, you know, especially for people who are 1099 and not W-2. A lot of times we don't understand that, you know, as business owners, we tend to make more money than we report. And that's for a little bit of everybody. However, in the industry of buying and selling, a lot of times when you're buying, I know a lot of times when I buy investment property, I use a regular bank, depending on what the property is. And they need to be able to see that you can afford this property. Even if you're buying it as a second home, an investment, a flip, there's different criteria that they use, but you need to be able to show what you're making. A lot of people, right, they don't understand that, especially buying, you know, a personal home. If you're, you know, an investor or flipper or, you know, whatever, you have your own business, you have to make sure that your taxes are in line. And a lot of people in this country do not do their taxes. And so even when you're buying a regular home, right, and you work every single day. Well, I know people who haven't filed in 2 and 3 years. And 9 times out of 10, unless you're doing a loan that doesn't require that, depending on the type of loan. But just remember, the higher the risk, the higher the rate. I tell people that all the time. You become a risk when you don't have all your ducks in order. When you have your ducks in order, your rate will be lower. People don't understand it. They think, oh, just because, you know, I have an 820 credit score, well, that's really not enough. Your ducks have to be in order. And so I would just let people know that, you know, in buying investment properties, they want to see that you have some skin in the game, right? So a lot of people say, oh, I want to go buy me an investment property, but they got $2,000 in the bank. And I keep hearing all this, oh, you can buy a house for free. Show me where. I haven't done it once, and I bought a few houses, right? But, you know, you have to have some skin in the game. So when you're buying an investment property, that's why they make you put 20% down if you're going with a regular lender, because it's investment. It's considered not your primary residence. So if it was your primary, then you can do one of the government-backed loans. But if you're not primary, then you have to do an investor loan, and that's 20% down. So you got to save money, right? You have to save money. You have to make sure that your paperwork is in order. And, you know, I just bought a house and sold a house last year. And, you know, the same house, I flipped it. But one thing I knew, that when my lender went in to look at my stuff, there was I didn't have any issues. And I gave her the number to my accountant. So they talked about what they needed to do for me in order for the house to work. And so when you have relationships like that, then you can go ahead and make things happen. But investing is very different. You got to have some kind of skin in the game. And you got to understand the market. You know, you don't want as an investor, you don't, you know, it's not emotional. A lot of people buy houses and they're emotional, right? Because it's a first time home buyer or whatever. Investment, I don't care what the house look like, as long as the numbers work. If the numbers work, then I want the house. I don't really care what it looks like, because I'm gonna fix it.
That's right.
You know, that's why I'm here.
That's good. What would you say about that, Nadine?
I don't do investments, so that's a different conversation. If you are looking for a home, the credit issue is the same. You have to make sure your credit is good. In today's market, I'm seeing that you need cash. You need cash because you see a lot of multiple offers. And a lot of people are going with, one of the terms is appraisal waivers, which mean that you're going to be on the hook for any gap between the list price and what you offer, because the bank is not going to lend you more than what the house is worth. Okay, so you might have X amount of dollars for your down payment and your closing costs. I tell my clients you need to have at least 5 to 10, if not more, liquid cash where you can go over asking if you truly want to buy a house within the next 3 months.
Wow.
That's good. So you mentioned today versus, you know, prior. So I remember when I purchased my first home, it was at the top of the market, right? And they were giving out that's when they were giving out mortgages, which is why, you know, things happened the way they did, and the real estate market started to plummet because of that issue. So how have the banks tightened up on that now, because they realized that, you know, it was a detriment to the economy what they were doing, just giving out loans to people who couldn't really afford them?
Well, now you're vetted to make sure you can afford a mortgage. They've kind of gotten a handle on that. And with interest rates being low, you had a lot of people, you know, being able to get the mortgage. A lot of people didn't have cash, and some people did. So those who had the cash, who could make the terms of the offer a bit sweet, they are the ones who got the homes and are still getting the homes. So unfortunately, and with the 20% that you might need for investing, you don't necessarily need that for buying a residential house if it's your primary, but you still need that excess cash, you know, in your reserve in the event you find something that you really want and you want to make a strong offer.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And you know, I you know, and you see it all the time. You know, I'm a big watcher of what's going on. Now the interest rates are up, but they're still not at rates. They're still at levels that we saw maybe 10 years ago. So is there still opportunity to get a good house out there with a decent interest rate, or are we kind of past that and now it's, you know, you get it because you need it type of thing? Like, where are we now with the market?
The market, as the what I've read as of today, the market, there is a little slowdown, but you still have a lot of buyers out there looking. Interest rates are high. A lot of sellers are also increasing the price of homes. So there's a couple of things that a home buyer have to look at. Look at that interest rate, because now you're spending more money for the money that you're borrowing. You're paying at least 20% more for a house than it was where the price was last year. And are you going to put more money down on that home?
Wow.
You know, how long are you going to stay in that house? So a buyer has to weigh all of those things in order to get, you know, to determine, you know, am I going to jump in this market now? I had some clients who said, you know what, I'm going to wait till this market cools off.
Wow. Yeah.
And can we talk about, I just want to bring something up really quickly, because Nadine, you just put something in my head, but just talking about the realtors. So there's an instance where there's a house that's on the market. It's in a suburban neighborhood. I actually sent TaMara pictures of this house. It's in a suburban neighborhood, but it's a mess. And when I tell you the price is high, not warranted for this particular property. So I just wanted to talk as an agent, right? How in the world could you allow somebody? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to.
I think I'd have to list it, right?
Right, exactly. Like, that is so outside of integrity, in my opinion, because of the shape of the house. You know, so just talk to realtors about that part too, because it's not just about the money. And the you know, listen, the sellers could have said, this is the amount of money that I want. However, if your home and the condition that it's in does not warrant it in the neighborhood that you're in, then you know, the realtor needs to say something. But this house is listed. It's actually listed.
That happens quite often. And as a realtor, you are there to service your client. So you're servicing the homeowner. They make the final decision on how they want to market their house in terms of price. You go in and you advise, you show them comps. And that's how you typically figure out how much a house is worth based on the comps and the condition. But as you said, the house is high, it's not in good condition. What I was taught to do, you let the house sit for at least 2 weeks. You tell the homeowner, okay, we're going to try it your way. And if it doesn't sell within X amount of time, we are going to look at a readjustment. Okay, because clearly the market is telling you, the homeowner, it's not worth
Right.
what you're asking for.
And I like that you said that too. Show and prove, right?
Yeah.
What's not going to happen? Because I was thinking, like, and this is only because I know the property, but I was like, they just need to fire the client. And
the thing is, you don't want to lose a client. Sometimes you just have to educate them, and sometimes they have to go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
It's like growing pains, and let them know what a lot of people think their house is worth more than what it is for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll hold out, and because I have seen some houses just stay at that number for like 300 and some odd days, over a year, because the buyer the seller for whatever reason wants that number.
That's awful.
And then you find some that will listen to their realtor and adjust the price.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I just want to say that again. I like that you said show and prove, because my mindset was different on that one. But TaMara, give us your take on it quickly before we end the show. And then, let's do it.
So, yes, basically what Nadine said, at this stage in the game, I don't take overpriced listings anymore. I just don't, because it really doesn't look good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if people don't trust me, you want me to negotiate the price of your house, but I can't give you my expertise on what I think it's worth. And we probably can't work together, because it's probably not going to be a marriage made in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those kind of people are very hard. If your house is sitting for a year, the first thing that buyers are going to see and they're going to think is something's wrong with the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so when houses are sitting, especially in a market like this, if you see a house sitting over 10 days, the average day on the market here is like 7 to 14 days in any part of Georgia, right?
Wow.
The average price point used to be $365. They said by the end of this summer, it will be $500.
Wow.
So, and that, with that kind of scenario, if your house is sitting and you have houses flying off the market, I closed the house today. I didn't even list the house. I went to the house, took it to my team. Somebody on my team had a buyer, so I didn't even have to list it.
Wow.
That's what's going on in the market. So if that seller does not want to listen to you and they don't really understand the market, then it's going to be very hard to convince a grown person that things are different from what they think.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to learn how to let people be.
That's good. So I just want to put up your information again, ladies. TaMara Roberts, 678-542-8850. You can reach out to her. This will also be on the FEM Talk show page. And Nadine at thebevlions.com, and that's 908-812-0009. Reach out to these ladies. This has been another episode of FEM Talk. We appreciate you both for joining and sharing in your heart and expertise on this show, and we will see everybody next Tuesday evening at 8.
Happy birthday!
If you want to catch us and you have
Happy birthday.
Facebook, then please go to E360 TV on Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, or the E360 TV app. And happy birthday to Nadine. I heard everybody saying that. Today is actually the day. We appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Happy birthday.